Hello, hello. I'm changing the time today, so hopefully, let's see who's joining us. Hi, Mel. How are you?
I am good.
Good. Um, I got a text from Veronica that at 1 o'clock. She didn't see the time shift, so
Oh, okay. Yeah.
maybe she will be joining us. Maybe I'm not sure if she can modify her schedule. Like, but how are you?
I'm good.
Awesome.
Yeah, it's just this is like a busy week because my kids don't have school all week. They call it ski week here.
Oh, right. Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
Um,
I appreciate you taking the time out to join us, and if you Um, if you get distracted or have to stop, I understand.
okay.
Yeah, it's fun because then you have to figure out activities for them to do, right?
Yeah, I mean they're pretty old now where they're pretty self-sufficient, but it's still like throwing me off just because
Yeah,
uh yeah, just I'm like staying up later because they're staying up later and then that just throws everything off.
yeah. And plus it's a short week as well since Monday was a public holiday. I don't know if that affects your load at all much, but I know sometimes it can throw
Yeah.
things off in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
Um, so before we get started, just to give some time if anyone else is going to pop in, let me check my phone real quick. Um, okay. I think we'll get started. I was just going to follow up and see if you were doing any morning or evening routines. Hello, Veronica. I'm so happy you could join us. So I'm
Me.
going to shift these to 1:30. So I hope that works for you guys. And I appreciate you showing up um, and adding to the energy. So okay, so I just wanted to see if either of you, if anyone wanted to unmute and share if they did any sort of morning routines from last week's call or evening routines, and if that changed energy or anything in your physical body that you noticed, or sleep patterns or elimination patterns.
Yeah, so I totally have been able to do the sunrise and sunset like almost every day. Of course, some days it's like I'm busy at that time and I can't get out, but I've been doing really well with that and I've noticed I'm sleeping better. But then I'm also I read like I like Googled it because I know you're saying a bunch of stuff about it and I just wanted to like refresh my memory about all the benefits of doing that. And it even said that because I know you said we have the most mitochondria in our eyes and blah blah blah. And so I was reading about that and it said that some studies have shown that people's vision have improved by 20%, which I'm like, my as I'm getting older, my eyesight is getting so bad, getting worse and worse. So I'm excited to see if I see any like, increase in being able to see, or even if it just stops deteriorating would be nice.
Right, right. Isn't that so interesting? And also, when you're out there, you can even focus on things that are maybe further away and different distances because we're often like looking at screens and looking at our phones, things that are really close. So we need to exercise our eye muscles and look and pick things out on the horizon or even like halfway between you and the horizon, like different kind of give your eyes and maybe you cover one eye and give your eyes like some time to try to exercise their muscles too. I think that's a really cool thing to do. And that's something I'm also
Yeah.
working on as well, is because so much screen time, my eyes and age, things are deteriorating. But I've heard that as well. Like I know somebody, that's what she does. She offers a course and she gets people off their prescription lenses naturally. So it's quite
Wow.
fascinating.
Yeah. Wow. Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Veronica, was there anything that you noticed differently or anything you've tried from last week's call that maybe made a shift for you? You're muted right now. I don't know. I know you're at work, so if you can't unmute, don't worry. You're still muted, sweetie. Oh, okay. I don't know if you can talk or not, but the cat you're okay, maybe you can't. So, all right. So today, and I'm gonna look in chat too to make sure that I'm not missing anything here. Okay. All right. So today, the topic is going to be fascia. And do either of you, we may have heard of fascia. What's your impression of the fascia or the role of the fascia, or what do you think fascia is?
Mostly I've heard about it from the like somatic healing and like I've learned a few different well from you and also from I can't think of his name right now. Who's that other harmonium coach? The
Peter?
male that
Yeah,
kind of
I know who you're talking about. Is it
okay.
Peter or what?
Yeah, and he's like he's done a few where, like kind of by your collarbone, there's a spot where you can get rid of some do some somatic healing there. And so that's all I know.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. So today, since the our topic or for the month of February is on flow, we're going to talk about how the fascia relates to our hydration, our lymphatic, and our blood system. So I'm going to try to put this into context for you. So that's my goal for today. And fascia determines blood and lymph health. So it all like has an interplay. Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Okay, great. So why fascia matters so much? Because this is often the missing link people don't hear about. And it's really simple to do things. You don't have to go out and get a special, tool or a necessarily or like have fascia release sessions with a private person. You can do a lot of things to move the needle on this. So most of us think about circulation just as blood flow, but blood doesn't move in isolation. It moves through the fascia, so that it moves through in our veins, also in through the our muscles, and lymph drains through the fascia as well. So the nerves communicate through fascia. Isn't that interesting? So I've heard as our fascia is our information superhighway. And I love this analogy because it's our nerves, it's like the freeway, it's like the tarmac or the roads for our nervous system. So fascia is also the connective tissue that wraps every muscle and organ, every blood vessel, every nerve, every lymph channel in the body. So, when has anyone ever like had a chicken breast, or you have a whole chicken and you're lifting up the skin and you're stuffing like butter in between, or maybe you're putting like a lemon in between. Has anyone done that before? When you lift up the skin and you see that kind of spider webby, sometimes connective tissue, that's fascia. So that just helps you put it into context, maybe. Fascia also is the network, it's the connective tissue that suspends our organs in place. A lot of people think like somehow our musculature, our skeleton like keeps everything in place. It's actually our fascia. So fascia in the nervous system. So fascia is constantly sends information to the brain about safety or a threat. So when fascia is tight, it's dehydrated, it's inflamed, it holds on to stress, the nervous system interprets this as danger in the body, even if there's nothing wrong. So like that phantom tiger that we're running from, where, our nervous system can be stuck in fight or flight, or maybe just not have a good way of recalibrating, like small triggers can throw us off. Um, so this is why chronic tension often shows up as anxiety or irritability. Maybe you're quick to snap at loved ones, you just have a low bandwidth for feeling triggered. So maybe you say things in the heat of the moment that you don't really mean. Sometimes it can show up in this tension can show up as brain fog, and sometimes poor sleep. It can impact how we sleep. And then if we're feeling on edge or like ready to shut down. So that's our nervous system and fascia. So when we soften the fascia, we're not just working on the tissue, we're not just working on the top it's all interconnected, right? So we're telling the nervous system that it's safe to relax. So everything you do one for the other, and the other one benefits as well. So fascia and blood flow. And by the way, please interject with comments or questions as we go along. I always, I love that. So don't feel shy. So fascia and blood flow. So blood is fast, right? We've learned that our lymph is not so fast, it relies on us. So blood is fast, it's pumped by the heart, and it circulates throughout the body about 1 time a minute. Isn't that cool? Like we have 5 to 6 liters of blood roughly. And then that is circulating through our body. It takes about a minute. That's pretty fascinating. So to me. But here's, here's the key. Inside these blood vessels runs the fascial planes. So if fascia is tight, if it's thick, sometimes it can create knots or get tangled up. Or if it's dehydrated, our blood becomes less, like blood movement, blood flow becomes less efficient. The oxygen exchange is less efficient. So we might feel colder in our extremities or numbness or tingling. Um, Maybe it's the brain fog. Um, and oxygen exchange is reduced. So we know in a state of hypoxia, which is oxygen deprivation, this is where cancer and bad, death can occur. So we really want to have this enriched flow state for the month of February and beyond. Sticking with our theme here, we want to have this nice supple fascia, and this improves waste. And if it's tight, this will improve waste removal as well. So blood is delivering nutrients and oxygen and also carrying out CO2 and waste products. So we want to be able to have this nice flowy exchange. And when our fascia is tight and it's impacting our circulation, it can show up as cold hands and feet, fatigue. So looking at your lab blood work and everything looks good on paper, but you're not quite you can't get an answer for low energy. You're always relying on caffeine to get the day going, or you need it throughout the day in the afternoon, maybe to, make it through the day. So, slower healing. So like if you cut yourself, and does it take a long time to heal, or are you a fast healer? Or are you quick to recover from a respiratory infection, or does it take you extra time? And inflammation as well can show up as inflammation. So improving blood flow isn't just about the heart, it's about the environment the blood moves through. So we do that. Well, I'm going to go through a little exercise in a minute. So now I'm going to talk about how fascia and lymph are connected. So the lymph is even more dependent on our fascia because it does not have a pump. It relies on us to move, which moves the fascia, and it moves slowly, the lymph, and then it relies on breath. Breath can help move the lymph, hydration, minerals, and tissue glide. So if we're dry body brushing, or if we go through that exercise that we did last week where we're pumping the termini here by the clavicle bones, and then we're, gently just, it's a light pressure. The fascia, again, is that connective tissue between your skin and the next and your muscles, right? So that's it's not a tough, hard pressure that you're doing to encourage lymph flow. So your lymphatic vessels sit within the fascia matrix, and that's that intracellular fluid. So intra meaning between the cells. So that lymph can show up as, sometimes swollen ankles, like especially if we've flown or if we'd have the bad mineral, bad sodium, like not full complex, like proper sodium as in nature is intended when we get our quality minerals with beam minerals or Celtic or Himalayan or Baja gold salt. Anyway, so when we get that inflammation, it can be a sign that our fascia needs a little bit more movement and our lymph needs a little bit more movement, and we need to start moving our bodies. Are we following? Is this sounding good so far? Okay. So when fascia is stuck, lymph drainage slows down, waste accumulates. So again, elimination also is impacted. And then puffiness, we get bloated in the belly, ankles. Oftentimes we might see it under the eyes. Could be some water retention with under the eyes as well. Swelling and inflammation generally, like we often see it in our wrists, ankles, fingers. We'll feel it with stiff joints. And we don't have to chalk this up to, age. Oh, it's arthritis. Oh, it ran in my family. I like to talk about more energetics that we inherit, and we can break these patterns by just moving our bodies differently and fueling our bodies differently and giving ourselves, that break between when we fuel and when we fast. So you might feel heavy, sluggish, bloated, puffy, and stiff, even when you're eating well and exercising. And that could be a sign of the fascia, blocking the lymphatic. So when you're working on either the fascia or the lymphatic or your blood flow, all these things will improve. So today's practice, we're going to start pretty gentle because fascia responds to slowness, hydration, So hopefully you all have been well hydrated so far today. And if you haven't, this is a gentle reminder to lean into some hydration. And just a note on hydration, it's not about sculling, your water bottle and going, oh, I got my liter in or I got my full water bottle in. Your body responds better to sipping water over time. Think of it like a soft rain on dry dirt, right? A soft rain allows the dirt to absorb the rain. But if it pours cats and dogs and the dirt's hard, it just runs off and causes flash flooding. Does that make sense? So that's how your hydration should be. Between meals, preferably, we're limiting our hydration around mealtime. Very different from our culture. But if you can remember to do this, you might notice a big difference in your skin, in brain fog, in stiffness, and just how you feel and mental clarity and all that. So fascia responds well to slowness, hydration, rhythm, and also safety. So we're going to work on the nervous system as well today. So this is a little bonus. So we're going to combine breath. We're going to combine tongue and jaw release. We're going to combine some slow movement and gentle bouncing if you can, wherever you are today. And if not, you can always revisit this whenever you can. So we're going to create the conditions for fascia to soften, blood to deliver more efficiently, and lymph to drain more freely. So you can expect, it's common to expect to feel lighter, to feel calmer, more relaxed, to feel clearer, more mentally clearer, and more mobile. So more flexibility in our joints and range of motion. So that's what we want, right? We want to be able to do what we love for longer. We want to have lubrication in the joints and range of motion, and agility and balance and all that good stuff. So connecting it back to the flow state, when we talk about flow this month, we're not just talking about circulation. We're talking about the relationship between tissue and fluid. So making sure that our body can absorb the nutrients and get the waste out through our detox pathways. That's elimination through going to the bathroom, through sweating. Breath work is amazing. And also supporting the vital organs that play a huge role in our detoxification process, which is our skin. It's our largest organ, and also our liver, of course, and making sure that our gut is open so that we're eliminating completely and well throughout every day. So between the nervous system and movement, this is also important because if you don't address the nervous system and you're just trying, and you're just, doing things on top of a dysregulated nervous system, you're not going to really get the most out of your effort. And between safety and healing. So when fascia softens, blood delivers, and when blood delivers, lymph clears, and when lymph clears, the body can heal. Does that sound good? Some simple key takeaways. So far, is there any questions? Are there any questions? Okay. So fascia is the environment, blood delivers, lymph cleans up, and flow happens when all three of these work together. So let's get started. So we're going to touch on fascia and the nervous system to start with. And we're going to have 6 little simple exercises. They'll take just a minute or 2 each. So safety first, right? Having the body feel grounded and connected before you start moving around. That's a beautiful way to start your day, set your intentions. When we often do it when we come into a yoga class, we get grounded on the mat, but let's take this off the mat too, so that during life, when life throws a curveball, we have a toolbox to lean into. So this is something that you can do anytime, anywhere. And trust me, I have, and people look at me funny, but I'm over that already. I don't really mind what people think. So sometimes sometimes people will say, oh, I should be doing that, or they'll come and give me a high five. I've had someone do that when I was doing Dr. Zach's 4-minute movement on the beach before. And then I've done it on planes in the aisle, and people are like, I should be doing that. I'm like, well, come on, join me. So if we start doing it, then it's not totally weird, and we can make it normalized. So fascia is deeply connected to the nervous system. And when it's tight or dehydrated, the body says, I'm going to be in protection mode. So it's going to be really hard to move the needle on your goals and feeling more relaxed and letting go of the stubborn weight and kicking the brain fog and all those things and regulating your hormones, all the hormones, and regulating sleep if we're not in a relaxed body with a more regulated nervous system. So a healthier response to everyday stress. When fascia softens, the nervous system receives the signal that it's safe. So we're going to do some tongue circles. And what we're going to do is just relax the jaw and you keep your lips closed. Just going to kind of separate the teeth. And if you can still keep your lips closed with the teeth separated, maybe just wiggle your jaw from side to side, back to front. Maybe just do a little, kind of release the tension, maybe just 1% more. Go ahead and just do a whole like head scan. Like, where are you holding tension? Is it here? Is it between the brows? Just feel free to give yourself a little love to release any tension. I know I carry it between my brows. I can see it. They're called 11s. Anyway. Okay, so we're going to take, so with your jaw relaxed and the lips touching, if possible, we're going to take a slow inhale through the nose, deep belly breath, and a long exhale out the nose. And one more time. Releasing any tension, just 1% more. And now I'm going to ask you to just circle your tongue on the inside of your mouth, like by your lips. So looks like that. And we're going to do 5 in each direction very slowly. So it's going to take you like almost like take a 8-second inhale and allow your tongue to take 8 seconds to make that full circle in one direction. And repeat it 4 more times. So by the time your tongue gets to the bottom, if you're starting at the top, you should be at 4 seconds. And don't forget to just inhale deeply and then maybe take a full exhale at the top. And then inhale again. And 2 more at your own pace. Matching your full breath. Say you're starting your tongue circle at the top underneath your nose area. Moving it in the same direction. By the time it gets to the bottom, you're at the count of 4. And you're making a full circle by 8 at the top again. And one more time just to make sure. And just, again, try to relax any tension in your face, in your jaw. Now, pause at the top. We're going to switch directions and do 5 revolutions in the opposite direction. So starting with 1 at the top and taking 4 seconds to get to the bottom. And then the last 4 seconds to the top, and repeat that 5 times. Let the jaw soften. And one more, if that's your 5th one. Now just notice and just sit here with your eyes closed and just kind of do a scan and just notice, do you feel a little more relaxed in the body? Maybe just a little more peaceful, a little more centered and calm. Maybe there's less tension in the jaw, in the face. Does anyone want to unmute and share how they feel or what they noticed doing that? Was one direction easier than the other? Okay. So moving on to step 2, fascia and blood flow. So how well your blood flow depends on your environment, how hydrated you are internally, your internal environment. And blood moves fast, but it moves through the fascia, and if fascia is tight, delivery is restricted. So when fascia hydrates and softens, oxygen and nutrients reaches tissues more efficiently, and then also waste as well. So that exchange of oxygen and CO2, every exhale is that CO2 waste exchange. Our breath is a huge detox pathway, not just for CO2, but also for toxins. So that's why breath work is so great. It also moves the lymph in the blood. So this is, we're going to do a little movement here. We're going to do some chest opening and some shoulder rolls. So if we don't know what a shoulder roll looks like, it's moving our shoulders up, back and down and away. I like to do it backwards because I'm always forward rolled shouldered. So I like to open it up. So go ahead and take 4 or 5 gentle, really getting the full range of motion and feeling into any sticky points. You might hear some snap, crackles, and pop. Allowing that chin to not be jutting out like a forward head. We want to bring that chin over our head in alignment with our spine. And we're just gently taking some nice big shoulder rolls. And now we're going to open our arms out wide like a hug. And we're going to give ourselves a hug. We're not crossing the right arm over top, reaching behind our back as much as we can. Breathing into our back, and imagining that space between the shoulder blades expanding with an inhale. And exhale. Actually, with an inhale, open wide. And exhale, let's have our left arm cross over this time. And inhale, expand. 2 more times on each side. And exhale, cross. And don't forget to alternate which arm is on the top. Taking a big, deep belly breath, we're moving our lymph and blood at the same time. It's all interconnected. Maybe we allow our head to fall back. Release any tension in the neck. And one more loving hug. So we're creating space for blood, for blah, blah, blah. We're creating space for blood to move more freely in our upper area. So we've addressed releasing tension in the face for more blood flow. And we've addressed our upper torso, arms and shoulders. Now we're going to look at how fascia and the lymph flow. So the lymph drainage requires movement. So lymph has no pump, as we've discussed. It relies on movement, breath, and tissue glide. Lymph vessels sit within fascia. So when the fascia is stuck, lymph can't drain. So we're going to do some gentle bouncing or rocking. So whatever you're comfortable with where you are today. I'm going to start with some light bouncing in my seat. Actually, no, I'm going to get out of my seat for this one. Move my computer back a little bit so you can see me. Okay. So we talked about this with the trampoline, with the rebounder, where we've just barely if this was the rebound surface or the ground, we're just barely leaving, if this is my foot moving and my heel is at the back of my wrist and our toes are staying on the ground. This is just gentle enough to get the blood moving. So just imagine, maybe you're just like, almost like a calf raise. Well, it is a calf raise. And you're just, now go all the way up, really, without allowing your heels to splay out. Like, keep your heels in alignment. So when if you were looking in a mirror, you wouldn't see your heels come out to the side. They're behind your toes. You're in alignment. So coming up as far as you can on the ball of your foot, keeping your pelvic tucked, so your tail tucked in a little bit so you're not dumping in your low back. Hopefully you can see this. Okay. So instead of doing this, we want to keep our tail tucked, and we're coming up on our toes, keeping our tail tucked, and then lowering. So we're resisting that down movement. We're not just coming down quickly. You can if you want, but for this lymphatic purpose, um, we're just working on moving the tissue and coming down. So almost resisting the gravity down, like take three seconds to go down. So you're up on your tippy toes, then you're moving through the ball of your foot and you're resisting gravity. And my heels haven't touched yet, and now they just touched. So again, up for a count of one. You can even hold on to a wall or something to keep you stable. And then you can come down for like the count of 3 or 4 and repeat that maybe 12 times. That's a great way. So we've been told that our calf is our second heart, and all that vasculature and the muscles definitely help pump the blood, and as well as move the lymph as we're doing this gentle toe raises. So calf raises onto our toes, heel raises. So once we felt comfortable with that, then soft knee bends. So we talked about those big lymphatic sites, it's in our neck, here at our termini are here at the clavicle. Then we have under the armpits, we have around the diaphragm and the belly, we have the inner groin, behind the knees, and behind the ankles where the Achilles is. So now that this is why the knees play an important role. So we're going to stand up. I'm going to try to move my camera down to my knees so you can see. Okay. So with the knees, it's just a gentle bend. So I'm resting my hands on my thighs. I'll go sideways. Maybe that's easier. And I'm just gently bend, like a micro bend down, and I'm not fully straightening my legs all the way. I'm not locking my knees out. Just gentle knee bends forward and back. And then you can go ahead and take little circles, maybe separate your feet like hip width apart, and just take gentle knee circles, 3 or 4 in one direction. And then we're going to go back the other direction. And this is how you can move the lymph behind your knees. Okay, any questions so far? We're good? Awesome, I see some. Okay, so this is about a gentle rhythm, not maximum effort. It's really subtle. It doesn't have to be like you're breaking a sweat. Just know that it's not a workout. It's just to get your flow going. And that's a beautiful thing to do. You can do it first thing in the morning, especially if you're feeling that stiffness in the early morning. Doesn't have to be part of your story every day. It's mostly stagnant lymph, stagnant blood flow, and we just need to get the kinks out, I like to say. So fascia also plays a role in our digestion. So clearing the center of our core helps support the whole system. We often talk about our muscles, our blood flow, our lymph, but are we ever talking about our organs that much? Like, I just feel like there's not a lot of emphasis on these things that are working so hard. We go to the gym to work out our muscles. And of course, there's unintended consequences that support each organ system, but that's why I'm a big fan of moving the lymph every day and limiting our toxic load and doing like the Zen cleanse, the gut cleanse, the liver cleanse, and this lymph blood cleanse, because unfortunately, we're surrounded by a level of toxins that previous generations haven't had to deal with. It stresses the body, and then it compounds. It compounds generationally, it's passed along, and we can do things to break these patterns so that we can avoid a diagnosis or lifestyle related metabolic dysfunction, which a lot of this can lead to if left unchecked. So clearing the center supports the whole system. The abdomen, the hips, they hold a lot of fascia tension, and it's tied to digestion. So how well we break down our food for nutrients that our body needs, how well we pass waste products that we don't need, and eliminating and how even our emotions. So I think you may have heard me talk about how certain emotions are tied to how certain organs are tied to emotions. And it's really interesting when you dive into that because, you know, if you've had a loss or grief or sadness, you can feel it. It sits heavy on your chest, and this impacts our lung health. So, or if, you know, something's bothering you and you know, it directly impacts, you know, with the lungs, you might be more susceptible energetically. That sitting on your chest is stuck heavy emotions, right? Or we hear something sad and we automatically bring our hand to our chest and we're like, oh my gosh, I'm sorry to hear that. Or, you know, I mean, there's also positive light emotions that are associated with different organ systems, but we just need to be aware of this. Like I always say, there's no such thing as bad emotions, but when they sit and cause energetic flow in the body, it also impacts the physical body and the emotional, mental body, like how we respond to life and how we deal with everyday stressors and how we function. So, does that make sense? Okay. So the abdomen, hips, and definitely hold a lot of fascia and tension. You know, think about it. It's a lot of roles of keeping all those muscles together in our hips, like and all the crazy things that we get to do with our bodies, you know, amazing, beautiful things. And when fascia and tension are tied to digestion, elimination, and emotion. Okay. And this area, when this area softens, um, we get better flow with digestion, better elimination, better emotional stability and well-being. So we're able to be better communicators in our relationships. We're able to be like communicate our feelings and boundaries in healthy ways and feel seen and heard. And I think this is really an important part of emotional and physical well-being that is often overlooked. So when this area softens, the flow improves everywhere in your life, not just in your physical, mental, emotional body, but in your relationships, how you show up as leaderships, as role models, all of that. So this time we're going to do a few torso twists and belly breathing. So I invite you to be gently seated or standing twist, whichever you prefer. I'm going to do it seated. And I'm going to invite you to bring your hands to your belly and just do a slow belly breath. You know, coming back to the basics. So if you're twisting, you can either inhale and feel the belly rise into your hands. And as you exhale, feel the belly button contract back to your spine and do a little rotation to the right. Allow your head to come along with you. And inhale back to center. And then we're going to repeat it to the left. So inhale, allow the belly to expand into your hands. And exhale, over to the left. And take your gaze as far as you can to that left side. This is going to exercise those eye muscles. You know, it's also part of healthy eye health, giving a stretch to that occipital nerve in the eye. You know, just as a side moment, since I got distracted with that, come back to center and just with your eyes open, do a full circle as far as you can without moving your head. Just take your eyes to the peripheral of your vision and come down to like 6 o'clock. If 12 o'clock was up to the heavens, move your eyes around to like as far as you can. And I even feel kind of nauseous sometimes when I do this. And I feel the strain in my eyes, but I'm going to tell you something cool is that the strain gets less. And it's your body is so beautiful and so amazing that the eye muscles will strengthen very quickly. So we don't have to do 1,000 reps, you know, all the time. It just often takes a few times. And now I'm seeing floaters too. Um, so I'm doing 3 circles in one direction and then I'm going to do the other. So without moving my head or neck, I'm just making circles with my eyeballs. It's the best way I can explain it because that's exactly what I'm doing. And I'm going to do one more side to the other way because I think I did just to even it out. Yeah, I kind of feel anyway. Am I alone here feeling a little nauseous or funky when I did that? I know
Yeah, I got dizzy a little bit.
a little dizzy. Yeah, me too. And I kind of feel it in my gut too, a little nauseous. It's interesting how everything is connected. Another thing is that our eyes are on our liver line. So if you want to improve your vision, Sleep with your castor oil pack on. Do eat the bitter foods that support your liver. Um, let go of irritability, resentment. All these heavy emotions sit in the liver, and when we improve the liver, it improves eye health, and when we work on everything, it all supports each other because we are whole human beings. We're not compartmentalized. So that's just kind of sometimes things are getting left out. When we go see the eye doctor, he doesn't talk about the liver health. I don't know. I don't have an eye doctor yet. But if you have an eye doctor and they've talked about liver health, let me know who that is because I'll have to recommend that person to other people. Okay, so this area responds to kindness. So our hips, our belly, kindness. Kindness for ourselves first and then for others. Okay, fascia and flow, supporting the lymph return to the heart. So this is the lower body. Fascia plays a huge role in returning lymph and blood back to the heart. So when it's stiff, swelling, and heavy, the heaviness increases and it's a burden on our heart as well. So those calf races that we did are great. And then legs up the wall. Everyone knows legs up the wall. You kind of shimmy your booty. If you kind of shimmy your booty next to a wall, like if this is a wall and this is the floor, and then you just swing your legs up the wall. And I like to do it in my bed too. So I'll put my legs up the head of my bed. And then just lay back and relax. And that's a beautiful way to allow, it's like an inversion, allowing the lymph and fascia to relax and for flow to happen in support with gravity instead of against it, back towards the heart. So ankle circles is another beautiful way to help support. I know I've noticed that my husband Guy, his weakness can be his ankles. He doesn't have great mobility in those feet, and we're working on that because dexterity in the feet and ankles is so important. It's your foundation to life when you're walking, and you want to keep doing that for as long as possible. And you want to have agility, and you want to be able to be nimble and keep your balance and have those intrinsic muscles working. And often we're spending most of our time in shoes, so I do recommend if you can kick off your shoes once in a while and really get in some good ankle circles where you're taking a good 4 to 5 seconds to make a full circle in both directions. Another thing is if this was my foot and this is my hand, these are my toes, you can get into your webby parts of your toes and you can do this gentle passive ankle roll with your hand in your foot. And that's going to really get the lymph and circulation going in your feet. So supple feet are so important as we age. So every small movement helps fluid return back to the heart and to our lymphatic termini to get the waste out of the body. So this whole body integration. So flow is systemic. When fascia softens in one area, the whole system responds. So flow isn't local, it's global. So you work on your feet and you're going to have your recalibration and that chain reaction throughout the body. We work on our jaw. Our jaw and hips are highly connected. Oftentimes, if you have tight jaw, you can release that and you'll notice you might have more range of motion in your hips and vice versa. It's fascinating. But if you're working on hip mobility or range of motion, don't forget to work on your jaw and vice versa. Okay, so the full body shake or sway. So gentle shake of arms and legs. So I'm going to get up for this one. I'm just gonna kind of let myself bounce and get the wiggles out. We did this as toddlers and kids, and we don't do it enough anymore, in my opinion. And it just feels good. It just takes a few minutes, especially between calls, if we're sitting at a desk too much. Just kind of shake it off. Deers do that, like that deer in headlight moment when they get frightened and they flight freeze. That's their nervous system, a deer in headlight moment. And then if you ever watch a deer, Veronica, you might have a better chance of seeing this before we do in Aspen. But if you see a deer in headlights and if you pay attention, you'll see it. It'll start shaking out pretty quickly after that. Or Animals do it so well. We just forget to do it as humans in modern world. We forget to shake things off. Um, so yeah, I'll leave that at that. So a slow, even just a gentle rocking, babies do that sometimes to soothe themselves. We've just forgotten these little cues and tips that we can do to take care of ourselves. So it can have a really nice ripple effect through the body. So we can even do some like gyrations, like in circles around the hips. And this just is a nice little release, even I'm feeling it in my hips as well. And then for evenness, I'm going to do a few in this other direction. So again, flow state, it just flows and ripples throughout the body and not just the body. This is going to have a domino effect in how you communicate, how you see opportunities, how you flow with your relationships, less resistance in your relationships too. You'll just pay attention to the subtleties. You might just take a deep breath and interrupting patterns of behavior, like whether it's a quick default reaction to, I told you not to do that to your kids. Instead, it's be like, is that the right decision that you should have made? Or what do you think? Give people, change the conversation, we're pattern interrupting. And this is how we create lasting change in our bodies, how we feel, our relationship with ourselves, and then how we show up in life and how we communicate with each other in a more loving and more graceful way. And then I've seen it time and time again. People are like, oh my gosh, I didn't even have to ask for XYZ. He just did it. Or my kid, how many times have I told them to take the trash out and all of a sudden they're just doing it. So you might notice some more flow state happening in your relationships. Um, which I think is, pretty powerful stuff. Because who wants to keep having the same conversations over and over? Okay, we have about 12 minutes left, and I just wanted to give you an opportunity to unmute yourself if you have any questions or if something sparked that inspired you or
Well, I like the eye exercise. That was cool. I've never done that before and I never like even thought to do that.
very nice. Yeah, good. And then you noticed you had a little bit of dizziness, I think you said. And just notice like next time, do you have the same amount of dizziness? And if you can do it in the early morning light, maybe that's, a nice way to spend some time habit stacking that with
Yeah.
what you're doing. Um, if you like next session, I will bring some more eye exercises in since I know we can all work on our vision. I know I can, and since that's something you're working on. Um,
Yeah. I mean, that would be really amazing if I could reverse some of it. I know it's funny because I noticed it like a big decline at 40 and then it didn't get that much worse. And then at 50, big decline again. Like, you know,
yeah.
in the past year, it's like gone down a lot. So I would like it if I'm fighting that, I'm at like the 1.5 on my reading glasses and I'm like, I'm not going to two,
Okay, well, let's see if we can stabilize or
Yeah.
who knows, God
Yeah,
willing,
maybe get
reverse it.
better. If we could
Yeah.
get better, that'd be awesome.
My just to share anecdote, my friend that's an acupuncturist, she shared with me her clients they had these like funky looking glasses that basically give you that red light therapy for the eyes. And the idea is that you use it in the mornings and it's supposed to really help with this. I'm like,
Oh,
it's $100 thing, but or 120 euros, I think they are. They're from the UK. But I bought one and I haven't been consistent with it, but I'm more consistent with getting outside in the early morning light. So I'm like, well, I'm just going to use the natural light and
yeah.
do it that way.
Yeah. That's interesting though. That you
Oh,
could get glasses that could like
yeah.
well,
Yeah.
I guess it probably blocks the bad rays and then it just
It
lets
might. Yeah, that's a good point. If I can I don't remember the name of the brand offhand, but I'll put it in the replay if you guys are curious about it. But I think, getting out in natural light is just wonderful and so many more benefits for our nervous system. to get the real thing versus having another gadget. So,
Yeah. That's
but
interesting though, because Pamela has that eyes of love thing with her heart sunglasses. That would be like a good thing to mix it with too, you know?
oh yeah, for sure. It's a great idea.
Yeah.
So, um, yeah, so I think so the idea with this lymph blood fascia flow, um, hopefully just feeling more ease, more range of motion in the body, less puffiness, better elimination, and then this better exchange of nutrients and waste. So then hopefully our energy levels improve. We might see it in our skin looking brighter or more clarity. I notice when I'm more hydrated and things are flowing, my eyes are less irritated. Um, and it's not uncommon if you are moving a lot of stuck energy and or toxins in the body when you really start getting into some stagnation that's been there for a while to feel a little bit of detox symptoms. So you could get more puffy in some areas as far as maybe you might feel a flare up in some of your lymph nodes. You could possibly get a breakout on the skin or something that hasn't shown up in a long time might come. And this is all normal. And I just want you to know that it's, whatever's coming to the surface is coming out. So it's certainly not an indication that whatever you're doing is causing a bad reaction, if that makes sense. I think it often gets confused with, oh, I had an allergic reaction to that, but you're actually purging what's not serving you. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So we're just going to be mindful of hydration with your minerals and alternating if you have hydrogen water and your analemma water, if that's a thing that's calling you, or maybe it's, I didn't really touch a whole lot on the flow kit from Zen Cleanse, but that's the targeted lymph blood kit. And it's a 30-day kit to support blood and lymph flow. And it's nice. It's really a gentle way to nourish nourish this area of your body. So if that calls you as well. Um, Next month, we have one more session for the month of flow, and then we're going to go into our lungs for the month of March. So I'm really excited to bring that to the table as well. The breath work, the lungs, a lot of joy can sit here, but a lot of heaviness, unsaid, sadness, loss, grief, generational or ours to carry in our own lived experience. Sometimes we just don't realize that we're carrying extra in that area. And so just to remind you that those are the things to look forward to that we're going to be talking about.
Okay.
So does 1:30 work, or do you want me to push it to 2 o'clock on Wednesdays, or does it, what do you do? Is
I
there
feel
just
like 1:30 is better
1:30
than
better?
2 for me anyway.
Okay, great. Well,
Hey,
then
did
I
you
will,
ever talk to Goalie?
you know what? She did text me
Okay.
and then I texted her back and then I haven't heard, but I'll follow up with her.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. I talked to her the other night. Oh, she started crying. She's
Oh, let me unrecord this just because it is
oh,
recorded.
oh, oh yeah.